What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 22 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 22 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord to meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $2,050 just yesterday. Another member who won $900 for the 4th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to be talking about is none other than Benedict Mathurin, and this one is actually for 3-pointers made for 1.5, and this one actually is for less. Now, when we look at Benedict Mathurin, we've actually seen him go in the under in 4 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, as we all know, All-Star break is finally over, so the NBA is back. There was a game yesterday, but now people are starting to come back, and a big reason why we do like the under for this situation is that people are coming back from break, so we are expecting them to be a little bit rusty coming into this matchup. But on top of that, when we actually look at the matchup against Memphis Grizzlies, we do see that Memphis Grizzlies do rank 7th when it comes to 3-point percentage allowed. When it comes to 3-point attempts allowed, we see that the Memphis Grizzlies do rank a little bit lower, as they rank 28th. And then also 3 points made allowed, we see that the Grizzlies rank 22nd. So a little bit mid to low tier in all 3 categories. However, the reason why we do like the under for someone like Benedict Mathurin is that Mathurin tends to play that small forward position, sometimes play shooting guard, and Memphis actually do a really good job at restricting 3-pointers made to his position. So we definitely see that being a big case coming into this game. When we look at his average over the last 5, it is only 1.4, so under this line. And on top of that, he did have a game against Washington where he did have 3. That was a little bit of an outlier game. It's brought this line a little bit too high that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under. So that's why we do very much like the under for this situation here, especially for this matchup. We think also in this game that Benedict Mathurin may not get the same amount of looks that he usually does see. It is going to be a tough game, and I think Indiana Pacers, with the amount of stars or other stars they have in this team, I think they'll have a lot more of the usage rate, and Benedict Mathurin may not get the same usage rate as we usually see. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. So Benedict Mathurin for 1.5 3 points made for less, I think is a great pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Devin Booker. Now, Devin Booker, a great player, and this one is another 3-pointer one for 2.5 3 points, and this one is for less. Now, look at Devin Booker. We've actually seen him go in the under in 2 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than the San Antonio Spurs. Now, look at San Antonio Spurs. We see that they rank 16th when it comes to 3-point percentage allowed. When we look at actually attempts allowed, we do see that the Spurs rank, roughly in that same sort of area, as they do actually rank 19th. And then also 3 points made allowed, we see that the Spurs do rank 21. So overall, yes, they are a little bit on the lower side, but the reason why we do like the under for this situation is a per position basis. When we look at someone like Devin Booker, he is a guard, and on top of that, San Antonio Spurs do a really good job at restricting, the actual 3-point shot attempts, 3 points made, to the actual guard position. So Devin Booker tends to play that shooting guard position, sometimes PG, but mainly shooting guard. And for that, since Spurs do a really good job against his position, we definitely see that working out in Devin Booker's, not working out in Devin Booker's favor, but working out in Spurs' favor. So we definitely do like the under for this situation here. When we look at his average over the last 5, it is 1.8. So, significantly below this line as well. The games that he has gone on the over, he's only made it over by 0.5. Booker's game style isn't really too many threes. He only likes to take a couple here and there, and especially against a team like the Spurs, who do, restrict 3-point attempts pretty well to the guard position, we don't see Devin Booker taking that many threes coming into this game. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. So for that, Devin Booker for 2.5 3 points made for less, I think is a great pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Joel Embiid. So, Joel Embiid, great player, and this one is none other than rebounds for 9.5, and this one is for less. Now, look at Joel Embiid. We've actually seen him going the under in 1 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than the Boston Celtics. Now, look at the Boston Celtics. We see that they rank 15th when it comes to rebounds allowed, so pretty decent there, but a big reason why we do like the under for this situation here is that when we look at both teams, Boston and Philadelphia, they both are really slow-paced teams, and we are expecting this game to be a very slow-paced game, which should lead to less volume in all 3 categories, especially less volume on rebounds. So for that reason, we definitely see someone like Joel Embiid going on the under here. When it comes to Joel Embiid, yes, he does play, a lot of minutes out there, but I think his usage rate is definitely going to be on the lower side in the rebounding department due to the fact that it is a slower-paced game. On top of that, Joel Embiid tends to play the center position, and Boston do a really good job at restricting rebounds to the center position because, of the players that Boston do have. So we definitely see that being the case coming into this matchup, and a big reason why we do like the under for someone like Joel Embiid. So I think the pace is definitely going to take into consideration as well. Now, when we look at what the bookies are saying, the bookies also have him favored for the under as well, so it works out in our favor there. So for that reason, Joel Embiid, 9.5 rebounds for less, I think is a great pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Jaylen Brown. Now, Jaylen Brown, great player for the Boston Celtics, and he's been averaging 22.9 points, 6 rebounds, 4.8 assists, while also shooting 46% from the field. So he's done a great job for the Boston Celtics, and when it comes to the Boston Celtics, they do have themselves a very good matchup against none other than the actual Philadelphia 76ers. Now, we have mentioned about Philadelphia 76ers before, and 76ers do rank 15th when it comes to points allowed. On top of that, moving on into assists allowed, we see that they rank 23rd. And then rebounds allowed, we see that they rank, pretty average as well, as they rank 18th. Now, 76ers haven't had, the season that they were expecting. They do have a record of 20-34, while Celtics have a record of 39-16. So it is definitely going to be an interesting game. But when it comes to Jaylen Brown, we do very much like the over for this situation for someone like Jaylen Brown. Now, Jaylen Brown not only has a very high usage rate in all 3 departments, but the fact that 76ers rank very low in all 3, we think someone like Jaylen Brown will be able to take advantage of this, no doubt about it. Now, when we also look at Jaylen Brown, what we also do see is that he is a shooting guard. 76ers do very much struggle against the shooting guard position, and that's a big reason why we do very much like the over for this situation here. We think Jaylen Brown will be able to take advantage of this, going on the over in this situation here. And when we also look at this game, what we also do see is that when it comes to actually, Philadelphia and this 76ers matchup, we definitely see 76ers struggling. There's so many stars in this Boston team. We think a lot of the attention will be on Tatum, will be on Kristaps. I think Jaylen Brown will be able to sneak through and get the job done, going on the over on his line. Now, Brown so far this season has done very well, but on top of that, when we look at his most recent games, he's had some decent games as well. Had a recent game where he had 25 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, so he has been able to put up great numbers as of recent. So you definitely see that streak continuing on into this next game. So keep an eye out for his line. I see a lot of value there to go on the over, especially if the line is under his averages. Again, to the next player, we're going to be talking about Paolo Banchero. So as we all know, Paolo Banchero, great player from Orlando Magic, and this one is a great one because Orlando Magic, when we look at the way they've been playing great, having a record of 27-29. Now he's been averaging 22.5 points, 7.1 rebounds, 5 assists, and 42.7% from the field. So he's done a great job for none other than the Orlando Magic, and the Magic do have themselves a great matchup against the Hawks. Now we look at the Hawks, we see that the Hawks have a record of 26-29, but on top of that, when we look at points allowed, they do rank 26. On top of that, moving on into assists allowed, we see that they do rank 25th, and then rebounds allowed, we also do see that the Hawks rank 20th. So very low in all 3 categories, and for that reason, we do very much like the over for this situation here, as we definitely see someone like Paolo Banchero being able to go on the over in a situation like this. Now, when it comes to this matchup as well, Hawks are a pretty fast-paced team. Magic are a little bit slower, but the reason why we do like the over still is that when it comes to Banchero and also, the Hawks do a actual good job at actually speeding beating up slower paced teams. So we definitely see Paolo Banchero having a little bit more volume than he usually sees, which could lead to more points, more rebounds, and more assists. And the fact that Banchero has such a good usage rate in all three departments, I don't really think you need to focus on points, rebounds, or assists. I think either one has the capability to definitely go on the over. What I would definitely just keep an eye out for is whether the line is under these averages. If it is, then there's a lot of value to go in the over, so definitely keep an eye out for that when it comes to Paolo Banchero. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Evan Mobley. So, Evan Mobley, great player, and he has been averaging 18.5 points, 9.1 rebounds, 3 assists, while also shooting 56.9% from the field for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, the Cavaliers have been on a roll, have a record of 44-10, and they do face off against none other than the Brooklyn Nets, who have a record of 20-34. Now, Brooklyn Nets do have themselves, ranking 8th in points allowed, which is interesting to see. On top of that, moving on into assists allowed, we see that the Nets rank 21st, and then rebounds allowed, we see that they rank 7th. So, when it comes to Nets, they surprisingly do rank high, even though they aren't really the best performing team, but we still do very much like the over for this situation for someone like Evan Mobley. The reason being is that Brooklyn Nets actually do a very poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the power forward position, and the fact that Evan Mobley is those positions, we definitely see him being able to take advantage of that and being able to go on the over here. Cleveland Cavaliers, they are, a great team that have been able to do a fantastic job. Mobley has definitely seen an increase in his usage rate this season, and we think that will continue on. And also, Mobley has been coming off some pretty good games. He most recently had a game where he had 28 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, so he was able to actually beat his line in all three categories, and that's what he's able to do, especially against teams that don't do a great job against his position. So we definitely see him doing that to this actual, Cleveland Cavaliers Brooklyn Nets matchup. We definitely see him doing that to the Nets, and that's why we do like the over for each category.